It is 6:01, and I am Councilmember Johnson, and I will bring the meeting for April 7th, 2026 of the Finance Administration Committee to order. We'll begin with the roll call. I am here as well as Councilmember Holloway. Councilmember Washington intends to join us shortly, and I'll try to remember to note in the minutes when Councilmember Washington arrives. We also have the mayor here and Finance Director Boutte joining us tonight. Next thing is the agenda approval. Here comes Councilmember Washington. Note that he's joined us at 6:02. 6:02 and 30 seconds. For the agenda, any additions or changes or subtractions?
I'm good.
Okay.
Looks good to me.
I do have one item to add. Do you think that'll be substantial in time? Okay, let's go ahead and do that I guess we'll do it right before the flood update. So that'll be the new item number 9, and that is a timeline for city administrator position.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. If there are no objections, then we will consider the agenda approved.
Approved as amended.
As amended, yes. Seeing no objections, I will adopt the agenda as amended. Next item is public comments, and I believed we had one person who had signed up, and that was Melody Correa. Is that right? Okay. Thank you. You've got 3 minutes.
All right. Good evening, council members. 14 days, the time that has passed since members from across the city of Snoqualmie joined together unanimously to voice their opposition to the Cascadia BESS project proposed by Jupiter. 14 days, the amount of time a Type 1 King County permit, which the Jupiter proposal will most likely be, allows for public comment, with no ability to appeal if a determination of non-significance is reached. 14 days, the amount of time our community has gone without clarity from the city council or mayor as to their position on this project, the outcome the city is pursuing, or the action they are taking to properly represent the will of the people. 0 days, the amount of time left to remain neutral. Based on the current track record, this community has no reason to believe that our elected officials will stand by with us in the thick of the very scant recourse that we have to protect everything that makes our community ours. Our families, our children, our homes, and our institutions. To reiterate the requests that were made 14 days ago, standing with us means communicating clearly and publicly the city's stance on whether industrial scale infrastructure is appropriate near homes, schools, parks, and sensitive environments. 2, actively seeking, facilitating, and engaging in two-way dialogue with the community at large, at a pace commiserating with the significant urgency of the situation. 3, proactively utilizing your influence with King County and any and all levers of control available to you to support your constituents in clear directive to stop this project, including but not limited to requesting a temporary moratorium on the permitting process for industrial scale BESS, as the current law does not have appropriate safeguards to ensure the rigor necessary to protect our community's interests or well-being. Whether you like it or not, we're all stakeholders and participants in a precedent-setting scenario for not only the entirety of the Snoqualmie Valley, but for any future decision where desires of industry are being prioritized at the expense of public safety across the nation. If your choice is leadership and partnership, please identify at least one member of the council responsible for publicly engaging with this community no later than Friday, April 10th. Additionally, we request that the Jupiter BESS agenda item for tonight's meeting be moved up to ensure that this deliberation is getting the priority, time, and attention it deserves. We look forward to your response, action, and leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. There's only one person who signed up, but I am open to any other members of the public who are here who would like to make public comment as well. Is that Councilmember Cotton?
Hello, Catherine Cotton, City of Snoqualmie, resident of City of Snoqualmie. I'm up here just to reply back to our constituents and residents of our community that, obviously have concerns about the leadership addressing this issue. And I just want to reassure you folks, we
Point of
really-
order. Did you just say that you were, why am I doing a point of order to myself? Oh, did you say that you're speaking for the council?
No, I did not. I
Okay.
said I'm speaking as a resident specifically, and I am not presenting any views of the council or the city
All right,
administration.
thank you so much. Thank you for clarifying.
So I did want to reiterate that the council members in general, I will say for myself in particular, we read through every single comment, email, conversation that is occurring at this point in time. And so do want to let you know that the citizens are doing all the right things. I want to stress the importance and significance of what you are doing as far as your organization and, pursuing the change of support. And I am sorry that you feel that you're not being represented by your city council or by your city administration. And so I hope that you folks will be patient with some of the investigations going on in the background. But know that your voices are the most important thing to be heard. And I just want to stress that and reinforce that we are all listening, we all care, and we want to be there and represent our citizens, and we will be doing so. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to make comment? Okay, then seeing none, we'll move on to the minutes. I did not have anything to amend about the minutes. Any other council members?
I don't.
Then the next thing is without objection, we'll consider the minutes approved. Right.
Correct.
then, they are approved. Moving on to the approval of the warrants, I haven't received any questions related to the claims report dated April 13th, 2026. Any comments on those or questions?
No concerns for me on the report and the claim reports.
Councilmember Hallway.
Well, never mind, go on.
Okay. Then seeing none, I would suggest that we move these forward on consent.
I concur.
All right, then we'll move those forward on
Good
the
with that?
consent
Yeah.
agenda.
All three.
Okay, great. Next up is agenda bills. We have AB 25-12, excuse me, 121, which is the lodging taxes 2026 allocation. And do we have member staff? Okay. That's Director Boutte.
Well, I do have, sorry.
Okay.
I do have Miss Weeby here
Okay.
with us, our community liaison, to help support this.
Excellent.
topic.
And Mayor?
Yeah, we weren't planning to make a presentation on it.
That's fine.
We'd rather just answer any questions if you have it, but if there's something if you'd like us to walk through it, we can do that as well.
Okay. I was there, so I don't have any questions, but to my fellow council members.
Yeah, I would like to
Cool.
see it.
Bring it up,
Can we bring it up?
the memo.
Yeah, if we could bring it up. Screen.
And Chair, after this, can we have a discussion, if there was intent to have discussion on Jupiter Power? If so, maybe move it up as requested.
Then we will take
But
that
let's
up.
first have a discussion if there was intent to really have a discussion.
Yeah.
Things are
Uh,
kind of in flux at the moment.
All right, let's go ahead and take care of this.
Yeah.
And then we'll take up that issue. Okay, Questions about this item?
Can we bring up the section, the memo with the allocations? And maybe one of the attachments? Can you? Well, we can pretty well talk them. It's
Yeah.
$7,500 to, what were the, was it 4 or 3?
For three of them, and then one of them was not
Or
approved.
3. One of them was not funded.
Yeah.
Can we just list off the recipients?
Yeah, the Northwest Railway Museum, the Snoqualmie Valley Chamber, and the Historic Downtown Snoqualmie Merchant Association. For the Northwest Railway Museum, that was for the Snoqualmie Valley Wine Train. For the Snoqualmie Valley Chamber, that's the World Cup Marketing. And then for Historic Downtown Snoqualmie Merchant Association, that was for Snoqualmie Days. The one that was not approved by the by LTAC was the Historic Downtown Snoqualmie Merchant Association. Also had a request for the Discover Downtown Snoqualmie year-round project. Yeah. Any questions? Any questions?
I'm fine with it.
All right, then I don't, can this go on consent?
Yes.
Oh,
Can? All right, then are we all right with going with consent?
Yeah.
Okay.
I concur.
All right, then we'll go ahead and put that one on consent. Okay, next up is a request for a discussion about the Jupiter Best, it's not exactly proposal since they haven't submitted anything yet, but the possibility discussion. And that was, whoops,
Well,
push the wrong button.
just a quick question.
That
Chair.
was for number 10 under discussions, and the request was to move that up to, I suppose, taking that up next. Yes.
Yeah, quick question. here.
Councilmember
So
Washington.
was there an intent to have a discussion on it?
Uh,
And
yeah, it says discussion.
okay, so um, I think in light of the circumstances, we should move it up on the
Okay.
agenda to the next item.
All right, I am not opposed. That's from hallway. Okay. Then we'll move down to the BESS / Jupiter Power discussion. So what happened at our last council meeting, which would have been the last time that we would have been able to interact with each other on that item, since we didn't have committee meetings last week due to it being a fifth Monday. The administration took down all of the various comments and compiled them into a document, which I see wasn't linked there, so I would have to pull that up separately. Whoops. Push the wrong one again. There we go. Try that. All right, we'll see if that works. And I had compiled them into a document that essentially summarized what the various comments were, suggestions, etc. And then what we did as a council was referred this to FNA for further discussion and deliberation on those items. In the intervening time, I don't wish to speak for the administration, of course, but my understanding is that the administration has been also doing some background research on some of the items that had been brought up with regard to that. And I don't really have much else to say at the moment. So does administration have anything to add?
Well, I would just say, because you've taken this out of order,
Yeah.
we're asking you to take action tonight. And you'll see that under item number 5 on the agenda. So I guess we'll get that in a different order. We distributed, or I distributed to all council members a summary of all of the comments that were made at public comment, both at your last council meeting and the council meeting prior to that, whereas you will recall, there was perhaps half a dozen individuals that commented. We captured those comments as well. Then we tried to group them into, group the comments into categories and specific comments. So the document that was distributed to you sort of laid out which ones had multiple speakers, which ones had perhaps one or two. There were some that there was an explicit request made, and so then we identified that for you. And so that sort of is a summary of the things that the speakers asked for at the public comment. The idea then is to decide what we can do moving forward to get answers to those questions, or to take action where or not, where actions requested, what are the issues around doing any of that. So we've got some activities underway in that regard. Much of that comes in the way of advice from attorneys, which, as you know, isn't something that we do in open session. Attorney-client privilege extends to the council, not to the general public. So that is something that we'll be talking with you about. But then we have a number of other areas where we'd really like to start gathering additional information, much of which would be able to be shared with the public, and we need some funding to do that. So that request is later now on your agenda. And then with this list of items, we're really kind of hoping that you can give us some sense of, to be honest, my expectation is you're going to say, yes, please look into all of that. But if there's any comments beyond that you have, obviously we want to hear that. So our goal is to look into as many of these as we can, well, let me try that again, to look into all of these and get back to you as soon as we can on each of them.
And one thing that I believe we're likely to need, or at least the administration is likely to need in order to support the effort, is going to be additional funding, which will be coming up later on tonight in order to do that. For myself, what I like as a council member is to have a full buffet set out so that I can decide if I want, some lobster tail, and then maybe I want some of the Caesar salad, and maybe I'll pass on the chicken. It's just, I don't know what exactly is going to be on the table based on the reconnaissance that is underway, though is a little bit hamstrung by the resources that are available to the administration currently. So I'm hopeful that we can get the administration these extra resources they need so that we can be a little bit more informed as a council on some of these issues. Other members of the committee? Yeah, Mayor.
I think as we kind of look at this list, we're trying to prioritize in two ways. One is by importance of topic, and one is by things we can get to more quickly than others. The reason I sort of want to call out those two priorities is some of the things that you've been asked to do, that we've been asked to do, are things that might come up on a relatively short time frame. So we want to be ready for those when that timeline triggers. So we'd want to use time now to get ready for those. Other things won't necessarily come up on a specific timeline, but as we look into it, it's when would we take action? What actions could we take? And then some of them are just things that can be done relatively quickly. Okay, let's get on and do those. So it's kind of a balancing of those, but starting with the most important things, and then those that we can get to quickly out of the rest. So it's kind of a balancing act of trying to sort of wade through that. Also, I want to make a point. There is a tremendous amount of information being gathered and shared publicly by our residents. And much of that's coming to us in emails, some of which you all see, I think almost all of which you all see, but we're gathering all of that as well and putting into this process. So where our community has gathered information, let's use that, leverage that as we move through trying to deal with or answer these questions and figure out what actions either we can take or we can help the community take to address their concerns.
Thank you.
So I just.
Councilman Washington.
Yeah, just gonna follow up. So for agenda bill, I'll just say 015, 016, 017. They're all to do with general funding sources and an ask in essence, right? So I would ask, just quick follow-up, Mr. Mayor. That ask, is it pretty much all three of those going to be related to our response to the BEST project?
Might be 5, 6, 7, and 8, but yeah, Mayor.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of things going on. So in AB 26017, we're asking you for some additional appropriation for a number of things. One of those things will be funding to work on this, to bring in outside help to work on the Jupiter BESS proposal. And I shouldn't say proposal because there actually isn't a specific proposal right now, but there's a general proposal. They're very clear about what it is that they're planning to do. So looking into that, doing the research, addressing the concerns that have been raised, as well as other concerns that we can think of. We're not restricting our thoughts about what we should be looking into to just that which has been brought up in public comment, but rather the whole question. So we need funding to help us do that. So I don't want to jump ahead, but so 26017 is where you get asked to give us that funding. 015 and 016 have to do with where we would get the funding for that proposal. And so as you'll see as we get into that, we've identified some sources of that funding, but in order to use them, we have to ask you to amend a financial policy and to amend an ordinance that conflicts actually currently with the financial management policy so that we have just a clear source of that funding that we then apply that funding, and then 017 then is your authority to go ahead and spend some of that funding on various things, including the ask that we'll make in this regard.
That's very clear, a lot more clear. Mr. Mayor, thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, one of the big challenges has been that a lot of the funds that are being requested come from a bucket that had been just its fund balance, and trying to figure out if there's anything besides just cutting even further into fund balance, if there are other sources. And I think the administration's put a lot of work in to figure out how we're going to fund approaching this issue. Other questions or thoughts at present?
No, I want to make a comment and you correct me or go wrong. One of the important things
Councilmember
to go from here though, is that we understand the process moving forward, which large chunks of that are out of our hands. We're a participant, not a facilitator of the process.
Right.
But that we understand the process moving forward and we engage it appropriately and at the appropriate times. Citizens also need to be aware that if we do that inappropriately, that we stake a position out of sequence or at inappropriate times, we may be disallowed in representing you in future decisions by speaking of predetermined precedents before this even starts. So don't take silence as not listening. Take silence as I'm being cautious, that I'm going to maintain my responsibility to speak on your behalf. Okay? So I'll be very cagey at the subject till I know that I am clear of some of those things.
Yes, Mayor.
Yeah, if I could, I think just to build on that comment, it's very important for a whole number of reasons that we, the city, take positions that respect the legal rights of both sides and support those legal rights and don't infringe on those legal rights that each side has. What some residents don't understand is that if we behave inappropriately in that regard, we could actually weaken their arguments that they wish to make. And so it's very important that we don't do that, that we don't take a step that in the short term might satisfy some, make them feel as if we've done something when in fact we've done nothing, except expose the city to legal questions and process questions. So it's, I know it's frustrating for residents who would like to see, an immediate statement, but we're being very deliberate and trying to make sure that we're protecting the rights of all parties and therefore making sure the process is protected and that the residents who wish to express concerns are enabled to do that in their very best way.
For my part, it's frustrating, not being able to, not feeling like you'd be in the best interest of the city or our residents to say certain things or do certain things. I'm afraid that doing so could end up actually yielding the exact opposite outcome of what some people may want. So, hence I don't. Other thoughts? Okay.
If I could,
Yeah.
share one
Matt.
other thing is, as you're all aware, I've been putting out statements about once a week, trying to update the public on the perspective that the city has, the information we've gathered so far. I know there are many that are impatient. Great, you summarized what we said to you, but you haven't done what I want you to do yet. We're moving through this, and we are communicating on a weekly basis right now how far we've come, where we're at, and we'll just keep trying to do that. And of course, council can give me direction on things they want to make sure I include in that as well.
Councilor Washington.
Yeah, I'll just make a quick statement. No, thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. Some of this, because of the nature of it, is going to be spoken about in executive session. It's highly sensitive. But with that said, we do owe it to the residents is to update. But again, it's it's pretty sensitive information, so it's not like we can just randomly, put out the facts. What would be a best process as we kind of go through this where we can, try, our best to keep the residents updated as to what we're doing. I think Mr. Mayor's doing a great job with putting out the statements once a week, but like I said, behind the scenes, there are some things happening that we unfortunately just can't talk about in the public sphere. So,
And it just, sorry, go ahead.
yeah. So to the administration, what would kind of be a best practice here? Because, I, for one, want people to know that we're working on this and things are happening, but there are just some things that are happening that we can't necessarily divulge at this point.
Yeah, Mayor.
If I could, just to clarify the wording, there are no facts that we will not share. If we know a fact is a fact and we share it. The thing that becomes touchy is as we consider things that residents can do, things that the company making this proposal can do, things that the city can do, ways the city can help each party with their legal rights, but also address their concerns in the most effective ways. That's what we're trying to do. And some of those things are things we can share. Some of those are things we just have to be aware of as we figure out what steps we can take. And all we can do is do the best we can to be as open as we can, protecting the interests of both parties in advancing what they're legally able to advance and trying to help them do that.
One of the things that before I got involved in city government, I would have thought was happening is that council members and the mayor and staff were kind of just always texting each other, like, hey, I found this out. Come to find out, it's actually literally illegal for us to do that. And as a result, that means that we do have a cadence of meetings where progress can be made with the council that is slow. And the reason that that has to be that way is because there could be decisions that are made, whether it's about this or just any topic, that if council just made behind the scenes, then and people don't like it, then it definitely gives a perception of an untrustworthy government. And as a result, there are, I believe they're called daylight laws, if that's the right term, that shine light on sunshine laws. That shine light on
was close.
on what the council is doing, and this is true for all the city governments. So it's a point of frustration sometimes when I mean to do well, but I know that I can't do something with regard to communication, because we got to do it legally and in the right way in full view of the public. So 14 days might feel like a long time, and it is, but that's the cadence at which work can be done given those restrictions. Other thoughts?
Good.
All right. So I do believe that the administration is going to need some assistance. So that's coming up later on in the agenda. Okay, then the next item is Agenda Bill AB 26-007, an ordinance amending the definitions of sale at retail and sale at wholesale in the city's B&O tax code. This was something that I believe that it's been a while now, so you'll have to remind me exactly where we left this off. I think that we were intending to forward this to council, but because of the nature of what was happening with regard to that council meeting, we kind of cleared out that agenda.
Yep.
So I don't think that I have anything new to add, but of course we can have a discussion. Mayor.
Yes, so you discussed, so we, following the practice we're trying to follow now with all matters, is instead of bringing you an agenda bill the first time you've heard of a topic, what we're attempting to do is for every topic we can is bring you a presentation at the meeting before we're going to bring you an agenda bill, have a chance to talk through what will be their concerns, and make sure that any concerns are addressed by the time we bring you the agenda bill to hopefully ease the process of that agenda bill and let you feel that you've had the time you required to deliberate that. So what's happening here is there's a presentation. You did receive this presentation. You discussed it. But that presentation did not go to the full council because you cleared the council agenda for public comments. So they have not seen that. So that's why that's in the proposal to go to the city council. What you're seeing tonight here at this committee is just the agenda bill related to that. But because we are changing the request, we just thought we'd quickly show you that and then show you the changed request, which is now baked into the agenda bill that we're putting in front of you. Did I get that right?
You certainly did, Mayor.
Okay.
All right, the Finance Director Boutte.
Sure. So thank you, Chair. Good evening to you, Council. This ordinance is seeking to amend the city's B&O tax code as required by law, moving several business activities subject to the B&O tax from services to retail sales. This amendment is necessary because in 2025, the state legislature wanted to tax several businesses, activities that were previously not subject to the retail sales tax. To enable their taxation, a bill was passed, 5814, that added several business activities to the definition of sale at retail, which is a part of our RCW code. Those activities included IT training services, custom website development services, investigation security and security monitoring services, temporary staffing, advertising services, and live presentations. Because the definition of sale at retail in state law was changed, our B&O tax code by law also has to change as well. As a result of this amendment would recode those business activities from services in our B&O tax code to retail sales. Now, the impact of Snoqualmie by doing this in terms of our B&O tax revenue is nothing because both retail sales and services are taxed at the same rate. However, we do expect to collect some degree of money from sales tax revenue because Our sales tax code, which is separate from the B&O tax code, references the RCW. And as a result of those businesses are going to be taxed by our sales tax rate overall. So once again, this is really just focused on the B&O tax code. In essence, we're shifting these these activities, business activities from services to retail sales. They're taxed at the same rate. So qualitatively, quantitatively, it's not really going to make any sort of difference to those businesses in terms of the business and occupation tax they pay the city.
Anything else?
Wait a minute,
Okay,
back up.
question. Councilmember Holloway.
You're changing them from services to sales.
To sales, correct?
As a result of that, they will get a different tax rate.
No, no. Both services and retail sales are taxed at 0.15% for business and occupation
City.
tax from
Okay.
the city.
Is the rate different at state?
That hasn't been a part of my research overall because we're focused on amending our code.
Because the last time we discussed, there was a difference, but okay.
Well, indeed, those businesses are going to have to pay the retail sales tax now, but none of this ordinance changes the sales tax code because we're referencing the sales tax code directly from the RCW. So the distinction that we have to make is this ordinance is just dealing with the B&O tax, nothing in regards to the sales tax.
But as a result of their B&O tax designation changing, they will now have to pay sales tax.
Because of the state law update to the RCW, yes, they're already paying us sales tax revenue because that started January 1st of this year. But we're updating here in this ordinance, our B&O tax code.
Yeah, okay.
Mayor.
If I could, so the thing that changed at the state level changed two things, something about B&O tax, something about sales tax. Excuse me. So the state did something that impacts sales tax. That was done by the state. They also required us to change something in the B&O tax, which doesn't change. The B&O tax rate change does not cause a change in the tax rate, but we're required to implement that by the state. So what this is doing is making that B&O tax change. You're correct in saying, but isn't part of this a change that happens at the sales tax? And the answer is yes, but that's not what we're putting in front of you tonight.
I just want businesses to be aware that
Yeah.
some of them are going to be paying sales tax they weren't paying before.
Exactly.
But that, because.
But, and that's to
State.
the state, that's fine, that's to the state, I agree, I just, no surprises to anyone, I'm happy.
But
Excuse me. Yes, Mayor.
yeah, I don't want to be anyone to be misled. The state change in the sales tax, and Director Boutte, correct me if I'm saying this wrong, but the change in the sales tax is likely to cause a change in sales tax even to the city.
Yeah.
But that's not because we changed something, it's because the state changed something. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Right.
And in addition, you may have noticed just from this last legislative session that they made some changes as a part and parcel of the millionaire's tax, in which a lot of those services will no longer be included as a part of retail sales. So in essence, when that goes in effect, which is right now scheduled for January 1 of 2029, I will be back with a ordinance shifting those services back from retail sales to services.
Okay.
One last thing is,
Fair.
you might ask, okay, you said that there'll be some change to the sales tax we collect because of this change the state made. And there will be some impact to Snoqualmie. We don't know what that impact is because we have never tracked those businesses. We don't know what the volume is in Snoqualmie. We don't think it's significant, but we don't know how much. We don't have any way to estimate it. So that's not, being coy about it. We simply have no data to estimate that with.
Sure.
Councilmember Washington.
Thank you. So this is a question to the administration. So when we spoke about this last time, we talked about potentially reaching out to the state to see if there was any in-servicing or education they could potentially provide. Did we get any movement on that front?
We're still looking into that. We're still trying to come up with a game plan, but efforts coming.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Okay, then I'd recommend that we forward this on to council. Obviously, it can't be on consent because it's an ordinance. And that'd be first reading, right? Okay,
Yep, sounds good.
all right, next thing is the general fund sources. I assume this is going to be Director Boutte.
Yeah, so before I hand it off to Jana Walker, our budget manager here, in essence, this is part of the discussion that we had regarding the best project a little bit as well. So in essence, as a part of this package that we've got 3 agenda bills, we're going to be requesting a dollar amount to support or appropriate for outside legal services. As a part of that, we need to make sure that we're moving revenue to the general fund in order to support that activity overall. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jana Walker to give this presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Director Boutte, for that introduction. So this is an amendment request for the 2025-26 biennial budget. And it is based on a presentation that the FNA committee received in March from our city attorney. And that was on outside legal expenditures and the various items that we needed. This request is going to be within the general fund administrative services, and it's separated into 2 distinct pieces. There is an ongoing portion, and that would be expenditures that we would expect to occur year after year in estimation, and that's $383,000. Then there's also a one-time land use expenditure for approximately $50,000. Those are our 2 appropriation requests, totaling $433,000. You've heard mention of some of the revenue items. The revenue that's being discussed is within the governmental capital fund. And the table you see up there is a projection for the next 5 years, including 2026. The top half relates to our sources that we receive during that period. The first column addresses city funds. So those are taxes and miscellaneous items that council has more control over or that relate to taxes. So we can reasonably expect to receive them year over year within estimation. The second column is external funds. You can see that those relate to grants and intergovernmental revenue. That includes King County Parks levy. So the levy may not pass in the future. Currently, we just had a 6-year levy for the King County Parks levy. We just started another 6 years. So it's, in some cases, it's very consistent revenue, but it is dependent on things that happen outside of the city. And then you also see a bond issuance for a total of about $37.3 million over the course of that 5-year period. That final column that you see is annual averages, and it is based on city funds alone. So the annual average that we receive within this fund is $3.5 million. The lower half of this table relates to renewal programs. And when you think of the word programs, what we want you to think is that these are the assets that the city already has that we're taking care of. So this is what we need to do to keep playgrounds fresh, streets surfaced without potholes, things like that. And you can see that the ongoing annual expenditure from the city is $1.8 million. We would like to see those consistent revenues exceeding the consistent programs or maintenance renewal programs that we have on an ongoing basis. The 2 items that I have circled in red are the utility tax and the recurring construction sales tax. And those are the 2 items that we would propose using to fund this ongoing request for outside legal expenditures. The first of those 2 is the utility tax revenue. This is tied to the utilities that are paid to the city, both city utilities and solid waste. They're consistent, they're predictable, and most importantly, they are unrestricted. Actually, that's not, all 3 of those items are very important. And it means that they are suited to fund items in the general fund. We would propose moving the 15% that's currently dedicated to governmental capital into the general fund. And you can see that the majority of those taxes are already within the general fund, but we would be moving a portion, approximately $300,000 every year, into the general fund. So that's item number one. The second item relates to construction sales tax. You've heard us discuss many times that construction sales tax is a one-time revenue source, and so we want to be careful about how we use it. But that revenue comes to us in a tiered fashion, and you can see some of those tiers in the graph shown. This is a 10-year graph showing the construction sales tax that the city has received. The first 5 years, from 2016 to 2021, I don't have the detail that I have from 2021 to 2025. But assuming that it continues on a similar pattern, you can see that there are some orange sources that I've identified. Those are heavy and civil engineering construction, commercial and institutional building construction, new multifamily housing construction, new single-family housing construction, and industrial building construction. And then I have tagged in green something called specialty trade contractors. And this is considered to be the more recurring portion of our construction sales tax. The way that this comes to us is through the Department of Revenue, and they classify things according to the North American Industry Classification System. I think I said that right. And that particular green item, it has a longer definition than this, but it's defined in part as construction that is usually subcontracted from establishments of the general contractor type or for sale builders, but especially in remodeling and repair construction. And if you consider remodeling and repair construction, those are often ongoing items. People are replacing their water heater or remodeling their bathrooms. So it's not going to end when the city is completely built out. Those kinds of revenues will continue forward. And therefore, this revenue is considered recurring and appropriate to fund ongoing general fund obligations. So where does that leave us? If we take those two items out and move them to the general fund, you can see that our annual average city funds have dropped down to 300,000 on, well, I guess I'm looking at the average. So that's 300,000. Well, it's zero now. It's zero because I took it out, but it was 300,000. And then the recurring construction sales tax, also an average of 300,000 has been taken out. You can see our total there. The total sources is 3 million. Wow. Okay. No, I think you said it right. I just said it wrong. Which still exceeds what we need for our renewal programs of $1.8 million. So we believe that we can move this revenue to support our ongoing legal expenditures while also not harming these important assets that we want to maintain. And with that, we can move on to some of the agenda bills or questions you may have.
Mayor.
If I could just give sort of a little bit of a historical perspective. The two items that we're talking about, one is about 15% of the utility tax. You might ask, why was that going to the capital fund in the first place? And the reason is that there was a point in time when the city council increased the utility rates because the utility system needed those rates in order to stay healthy. But the utility tax is a percentage of those utility rates. And so the council was not intending at that time to raise general funds by doing something that needed to be done with our utilities. So the idea is, let's take that windfall, if you will, that additional utility tax that was not expected, and let's not use that in operations. Let's set that aside. So for the few years since that's happened, that's been going into the capital fund. But utility tax by its nature it's just a general tax revenue that would normally go to the general fund. And so what we're looking at now is, okay, now we're to a point where we need that in the general fund. And so we're asking to move that along with the rest of the utility taxes back into the general fund. So it wasn't an idea that the council was trying to put money away for capital purposes out of the utility tax. It was more, hey, we didn't intend to put this money into the general fund and start spending it for general fund purposes. Let's not inadvertently raise the budget and start spending this money. Let's set that aside. That's a similar logic to why the other item that we're talking about, which is construction sales tax, why that was ever in the in the capital funds. And as a reminder, the council, well, one of us who's here may have been here for the council decisions then, but certainly I was not, and I think the rest of us were not. But the council during the build out of Snoqualmie Ridge wanted to be very sure that this city didn't do what many cities that go through big growth spurts, not make the mistake that those cities made, which is to build a set of services, a city staff, based on the funding that was coming in, that was being generated solely, if you will, because they were doing a big build out, and that revenue would disappear as soon as you completed the build out, and now you'd have to cut way back on services. So what this former editions of this city council did was say construction sales tax cannot be used for the general fund. We'll set that aside into the capital funds. It wasn't so much they were trying to put it into the capital funds, is that they were saying, we're not going to put it into operations that we then have to cut back.
One-time funds for one-time expenses.
One-time funds for one-time expenses. That's exactly what they were saying. That was the mantra. So what's happened now is that the build-out's done. When we look at the construction sales tax now, it's a much lower number than it was during the build-out years. And it's come to be a very predictable number for the reasons that Budget Director Walker went over. So, but we're still a little bit worried about that. So we've still looked into the components, and that's why she walked you through those components. There are certain components that still look like they behave like one-timers. So we're saying, nope, let's keep those one-timers out of the general fund. Let's not introduce variability into the general fund. But let's take the predictable amount of that construction sales tax. Let's put that in the general fund now. It is predictable, it's recurring, it's okay to support our services. And when we're this squeezed on sources, let's use that to meet the ongoing needs. And as a reminder, the legal fees, these are fees, we expect that level of legal fees every year. It really was something that we've been squeezed out and couldn't cover. So let's put that in the general fund. We expect those ongoing expenses. Yes, the 50,000 will be a one-time item, but we expect the bulk of that 383,000, that's just a level of legal expenses we've been incurring for years and years, and
We need a budget for 'em.
unfortunately are going to expect to experience going forward. So this is trying to match ongoing sources that are unrestricted with ongoing expenditures. So we're right sizing, so to speak, our request to you on the expenditures. And we're saying, let's use this revenue source to pay for it.
Two things on slide 3. First, were those projections, were those assuming any large developments over the next 5 years or so till 2030?
No, this is just inflated from current.
Okay. And then the point 3, is that intended, that's in the red box, is that, well, specifically the line that says recurring construction sales tax, is that intended to be the average of the top of the graph from 2021 to 2026 on page 5?
No, it assumes that we would carry forward at a similar level of 25, 26. Or did you say 25? Sorry, I imagine the top of the graph when you
Well,
said that.
now if let's just do it this way. If you now go to slide 5, was that number intended to be the peak from 21 to 26 as like an average?
I think it carries forward, it just inflates the most recent year.
Councilmember Washington.
Yeah, and question to the administration. So the movement of the utility tax, the reoccurring construction sales tax into the operating fund, would this be something from 2026 to 2030 that's permanent? Or is this something that we would maybe revisit in the biennium? Or, and my question, where my question is coming from is, correct, right now we have these pretty heavy duty legal fees given the circumstances. My projection would be maybe someday in the future, we don't have the heavy legal bills. Will we return back to kind of what we were defaulting to, or kind of what would be the plan there?
Mayor?
Yeah, if you'll recall, we don't think we have heavy legal fees right now. We have what appear to be very average legal fees for the last 3 bienniums. So we just didn't look farther back, or I didn't look farther back. So this really is the legal expense level, the 383.
Mhm.
There's a 50,000 component that we've added on. That's one one time.
One-
But the bulk of this is 383,000, which we expect to be every year, and that's why we're making this request as a permanent change to our policy. When we sort of look back at this current year that we're in, our sources are not going to cover our uses. So we can say, well, how did we get there? Okay, our budget probably should have been higher, but it wasn't. So what we're looking at now is what are these ongoing levels of expenditures, and realizing we don't have the sources. And I said, well, these are available sources. We should apply them before we go looking for other sources.
Councilmember Hallway.
Well, just clarification, last point, and on this chart, it's the green section, which represents that 0.3 on the chart above, that gets carried year to year back in. Those are viewed as recurring remodeling, just recurring things that the city's gonna go through. We're gonna put it in general fund. The brown sections are one-time expenditures, which will continue to go to that capital to, well, one-time expenses for one-time things, which means capital. But for that 0.3 is a green, not the top of the orange.
Okay,
Mhm.
Mayor.
Yeah, and that's exactly correct. That's why
Got it.
the way you asked the question, I could see why Director Walker got confused, because it's sort of upside down to how, we think
Right.
about this chart, but it's absolutely the way that
Okay, it's
Councilmember
only the
Holloway said.
green, not the other things. Even
That's
though those
correct.
are called construction, those are not construction sales tax. That is the 0.3.
They are construction sales tax, but they're in so we now have categories of construction sales tax. And so we're saying the one that's recurring,
Mhm.
that one we should pull back over to the general fund. The ones that are not recurring, that still is the same concept that the council's previously applied, which is no, let's use one-time revenues for one-time costs.
Well, and the real thing we don't want to get is to become a community addicted to growth.
Mhm.
Many of us moved here from communities addicted to growth. Let's be able to manage our way to appropriate growth where it makes sense versus, oh, I gotta make budget, let's go do that. So continue that practice.
All right. Other questions about this presentation? I only had one thing to ask about, and that's one other thing, and that's just is it codified in some way in the requested appropriation that we have the 383 that's designated separately than the 50,000, or is it sort of like an unofficial designation for the difference between the two?
Well, we're not designating necessarily the amount, but we did, as a part of our financial management policy that we're bringing part of this as a companion today, is make that distinction between reoccurring construction sales tax and non-reoccurring construction sales tax. So when we get to the next agenda bill, and I can just cite that right now, AB 26-015, as a part of the overall language, we have updated, and let me get to page 7 here.
Director Boutte, if I could, just before you continue.
Yeah.
Mayor.
So remember this, while we talk about revenue sources and expenditures, and we kind of talk about how we think about them together, actually the way our ordinances read, no expenditure is tied to any revenue unless we put it in a different fund. So when we put these revenues in the capital fund, okay, now those can only be used for capital. But anything in the general fund can be used for any expenditure in the revenue in the general fund. So what we do is we come to you and we say, what is the total expenditure that you will authorize for us? And so, yeah, we're asking for the 383 and the 50. It's just a request, please let us spend that money, and then you decide whether to say yes. It doesn't per se tie to a particular revenue source. It's just that we know that your decision whether to say yes or no has to do with, well, do we have the ability to pay for this? And so we're showing you a way to pay for it, but it's not actually directly linked. It's not like you can only use this for sort, like you can only use sales tax for this expenditure, or it doesn't work that way.
I think what I'm trying to parse out is just the specific appropriation.
Right.
Is it a lump sum, or is it that these are two specific appropriations? That they are one. Okay. And then the administration is saying, this is our intent.
But
Okay.
the council approves appropriations at the account level.
Right.
Not individual expenditures. When you come back for a contract, that's a different thing. We would do contracts individually as long as they exceed the
50,000.
50,000 expenditure level department head, or if you just want to bring it forward. But our authorization appropriate level is at the account level, not individual expenditures at a budget authorization.
Mayor.
Your appropriation is at the fund and department level, not at the account level.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it is at the fund and department level. So for example, you'll see you're authorizing us to spend this money, if you do, in the legal department. I can't just go shift that and spend it, in the fire department
Okay.
without coming and
Thank you.
asking you.
All right. We're speaking the same language.
Yeah.
Okay. Then if there's nothing else on that item, then we can move to AB 26-015, which is a resolution amending the financial management policy. I assume this is Finance Director Boutte again.
Yes, so this resolution is seeking to amend the city's financial management policy, clarifying and changing where, such as what fund, the city's construction sales tax and utility taxes are recorded. In essence, this amendment would clarify that only the non-reoccurring portion of construction sales tax would be recorded within the governmental capital fund, which would mean that the recurring portion of construction sales tax would be recorded within the general fund in order to support the appropriation request that is coming as a part of the budget amendment. In terms of the utility taxes, this amendment, along with a companion agenda bill that's going to come next, would stop the apportionment of utility tax revenue between the general fund and the governmental capital fund. And so in essence, all we've done as a part of this financial management policy is added 6 words and subtracted 15, particularly from page 7 overall, that just specifies that instead of directing all the construction sales tax revenue to the capital fund, that we're now breaking that out. We're doing a little bit more fine tuning. So we're moving really the reoccurring portion back to the general fund and then keeping that one-time revenue from construction sales tax, the non-recurring portion, and using that for one-time uses in our governmental capital fund. In terms of the utility tax, we are also making just a slight adjustment in terms of the language there under page 7. And so in essence, a lot of what we're doing in this resolution is to allow this to happen,
Just definition.
Yeah.
Essentially.
basically.
Yep. I don't have anything more on this.
Nope, I don't either.
In the hallway. Mayor? Okay. Mayor?
Yeah, so just to make sure you're sort of appreciating the nuance here. This is a resolution because the thing that we're changing is a council resolution. The other things will be changing ordinance because those arose in ordinance. So while it's presented together here, when we get to the full council, there's the ordinances and then so we'll present it to you as one thing, but you'll actually see it kind of broken up in your agenda for the full council meeting. But this one is, again, this one's a resolution because it's changing a prior council resolution. The other two are ordinances because they're changing prior ordinances.
So I guess just a quick follow-up question.
Councilmember Washington.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. So to change a policy, a financial policy, it's strictly, I don't want to say just a resolution, but it's not an ordinance to do that. It's just a resolution. Kind of like you're changing a process, if you will. Is that?
Mayor?
Correct. So that which the council dictates by resolution, it can change by resolution.
Okay.
All right. Then I guess we actually have to take just one quick step back to the presentation slides for item number 5, and that was if we're ready to forward this on to council, which I kind of had assumed that we were. Okay, thank you. All right, then we'll do that. And then for this one, I would say same thing, even though it is a resolution, because we need to talk about things in the proper order and stuff, I'd recommend not having it on the consent agenda.
Correct. I agree.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, it's not
Okay.
consent.
All right,
Anytime
yes.
we're talking this.
All right, then let's go to AB 26-016, which is an ordinance repealing ordinance 1296, section 8, and resolution 1255, section 2B3.
So in essence, the utility tax that we just discussed has a kind of complex legislative history. Overall, we need to kind of unwind that a little bit so that really the financial management policy is the sole source of authority directing where that utility tax revenue would go. So in essence, we are repealing some references in a prior ordinance and resolution that designated a portion of that utility tax revenue to particular funds. And so we just need to make sure that we kind of clean that up so that really every time that we want to reference, well, where should the utility tax go? It's the financial management policy that will provide us with direction. And then we're not having to scramble around to find old ordinances in the past about, well, are there contradictions or things like that? So this is very much kind of a housekeeping cleanup agenda bill.
No questions for me.
Good to go.
Yep, all right. It's an ordinance, so obviously it wouldn't be consent anyway. Normally, actually, this is kind of an issue. Normally, we would do ordinances at the beginning, but I think that this all has to kind of go together under F&A. So, yes, Mayor.
So
Should.
you'll see that what I proposed
Mhm.
in the council agenda meeting is that we do the presentation and the 2 ordinances
Okay.
and do that in the ordinance section.
Mhm.
And then later pick up the
Resolution.
resolution item under F&A.
Okay, so the
We're gonna
presentation
get
would be.
disconnected in 4 weeks anyway.
Right. So the presentation would be up in the ordinances then.
In the
That is,
presentation
that,
section.
that's exactly what we propose to do for you.
Okay. All right, perfect. Then the next thing is AB 26-017, which is the 2025 to 2026 budget amendment. All right. Director Boutet.
So on over.
So you might not have seen this one in the packet. I think somehow it got scrambled. We'll make sure that it's in the city agenda packet. But I've got it up on the screen there. This is the budget amendment ordinance, which also has the same requirements, 2 readings. This would be the second amendment for our budget for the 2025-2026 period. And it is for that $433,000. It is a companion to those 2 revenue items that Drew addressed. And so we would hope that they could be passed together.
This does need a supermajority.
I don't believe it does.
Mayor.
Yeah, I know in the past I've wondered about that too. So we did have that looked into and it does not, it just requires a simple majority.
Okay.
Simple majority.
Okay.
And some things that might be of interest, we do treat those one-time and ongoing expenditures as one appropriation, but within our 10-year forecast, you can see those separated out because we do want to make sure that those one-time uses aren't affecting our future. So I think it's the final attachment in this agenda bill, you can see where that number 50,000 is drawn out separately.
Chair,
Yes.
any consideration of waiving second reading?
Ooh, due to the somewhat urgent nature of this, maybe.
Mayor,
Mayor?
may I have a opinion?
So as you know, you provide budget and you give the mayor authority to sign contracts or spend money up to $50,000. I have proceeded to engage legal counsel on this already. So we will not hit a $50,000 limit before you would go through your second reading. So waiting through the normal process is not going to stop the work. I just didn't want to
Okay.
get way out ahead of you and,
No, but it's also, we're gonna read it twice. You know,
Yeah.
agendas are getting packed. We
Yeah.
can do it twice, we can do it once.
Yeah. So, no, I think you'll be okay, with the timing because
Thank you.
we've already engaged people to start helping us. And so, under that authority that you've already given me, it's just that we see that we're going to get to 50,000. So now's the time to ask you.
In fact,
Mr.
just
Ross, comment.
real quick on this,
Go-
real quick,
go
when I
ahead.
come to you. So the 50,000 then, just as a reminder, it perhaps could be looked at as a courtesy of the administration to bring that up, since that was within the spending authority anyway. Mayor?
Well, if I do not get this additional 50,000 from you, I would have to cut other legal spending. It's a timing thing. So,
Agreed. Not here.
you know, but
Right.
as we get through
Appreciate
the
it.
year, no, as we get through the year, because of the budget that I have, I would have to then stop doing other things because I'd run out of money. So, but in terms of timing, we're fine now, as long as you give this additional authority, by the time we sort of would need it.
Excellent. Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Washington.
Yeah, no, I just had a conversation with my colleague, Councilmember Holloway, but I think it is something that we could bring up to the council in general if they want to read the second reading of.
Yeah.
Right, we can't waive it here.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
waive
Yeah,
it.
but-
Right.
With the way you said it, it was like.
I'm just,
Yeah,
I'm just
so-
suggesting, it was,
Yeah,
I withdraw the suggestion
okay.
already prior to the
Okay.
conversation.
Okay,
Move on
so-
with the rest of the agenda.
Yes,
Right.
well, so I would just say if
Mhm.
we could bring it up
Yeah.
and see if the council would want to waive it.
All right.
Okay.
That'll be a council decision. Okay,
Not half an A decision.
right. Then, is there anything else on this item? Thank you, administration, for, excuse me, for managing to get that into a sensible order to bring to us. Next thing then is the discussion items, and we have a new item number 9, which is about the administrator city administrator timeline. So I assume that this is the mayor. Will guide us through this.
Okay, just wanted to make you aware of the timeline that we're shooting for. We have now posted the position. We're going to leave that posting open for 3 weeks, is our intent. Sorry. Yeah, this is our intent, is so through April 22nd. Then we'll, during the week of April 20th, start going through the applicants, scheduling interviews for the week of April 27th. Then in-person interviews the week of May 11th. And then that week would include opportunity for council members to interview as well. Let's see, I think we're thinking of that, proposing that for Wednesday, May 13th, from 4 to 6 p.m. And then you, council, can decide, is all of you, some of you, that your decision. But
If we do all, we have to public notice, invite the public. If we do
Yeah.
3, we can do the interview. An interview is kind of something you may want to do. Yeah. You may want to ask questions that you don't want necessarily recorded forever on audio.
totally defer to your decision. Don't want to, like, that's a council decision that you all would make, and Councilmember Holloway is, of course, absolutely correct. And then try to get a start date in June.
Then I wonder if we should be very ambitious to try to add this to our council agenda for this coming meeting, but since it is coming up,
It's posted for 3 weeks. You may just mention that it's posted and
yeah,
bring this up a little bit later, depending on how much time we got.
it's fine. Mayor,
If you'd like, I can just distribute this
Yeah.
timeline to council and then invite them to comment back to me if they have any concerns. And then obviously respecting the quorum topics, I could make sure and feed that back to you if there is a concern, and we'd make sure it gets addressed.
But we do need to have,
Councilmember Hallway.
we do need to have a council discussion of who the interview team is
Yeah.
from council. So that needs to be on our docket sometime to make that decision.
Looking at our agenda that's coming up, I don't know how realistic it is to do that at this one, so I wonder if we could do that then on the 27th at that meeting. I think that would still give us enough time.
Yeah.
So yes.
Okay.
You're out for 3 weeks and then a week of review, a week of interview, and then the council.
So just a.
Yeah, so the interview date that council, that we're holding for council would be May 13th.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
plenty of time.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I think we'll have time if we don't do it at this coming meeting to talk about that as a council. Okay. Then the next thing is anything else about that? No? Okay. Then the next item is the flood event update. It does say no change, but of course I'll let the administration have a moment if they want to update us on anything.
No
Right, we don't-
updates to report.
I didn't think so. All right. Thank you, though, for always having that available. Then the, yes, Mayor.
So I just want to make sure for the record, did you decide to send the second ordinance forward to council?
I believe so.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Good, thank you.
Yes.
Either we did or we did.
There you go. We do not have anything listed under items for future discussion, though I just did want to note on our way toward number 11 that we will be discussing the retreat at hopefully one of our very near future meetings of FNA. So we can bring that to council. Councilmember Washington.
Yeah, also to maybe for future discussion, what our process is for the upcoming appointment of the open council seat.
Yes.
So questions, are we looking at pro forma questions this time around? What does the whole process look like? So I think we need to start having that discussion.
Yes. My intent was the next FNA meeting.
His intent, I said.
Okay.
"Look at me."
Well, you gotta participate.
Bristol used to being mayor pro tem. All right. Then the last thing on our agenda tonight then is the draft city council roundtable and regular meeting agenda. So we'll start at the top and I'll go as fast as I can through this. This is long. All right, next thing, or first thing is the roundtable agenda, which starts at 6 p.m. We'll do call to order and roll call, followed by the agenda approval for only the roundtable, followed by special business, which is an executive session, and then adjournment.
Looks good.
Okay, excellent. Then the next thing is going to be the regular agenda, which starts at 7 p.m. We'll have the call to order and the roll call, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and the agenda approval. And then we have public hearings, presentations, proclamations, and appointments. We do have an appointment, the city clerk. Yep, okay. Mayor?
I think
Mhm.
I will be able to bring forward some commission appointments. So if you're willing to add that to the appointments, it would be commission appointments. And I think I'll be able to get that out to you all in time and then have that be on the agenda.
Excellent.
There is the thing I'm particularly worried about is with a lot of heavy lifting, in particular in the Planning Commission, they do have 2 open slots. So I just want to make sure they don't get into a position where they're struggling to make quorum. And so want to
Yeah.
fill those. Yeah. There are others as well, but in particular, I want to make sure that our Planning Commission doesn't get hobbled.
Okay, just let us know. All right, then we've got proclamations, sexual assault awareness. I assume that's month or something? Okay, month, yep. And then we have Volunteer Appreciation Week and Arbor Day, followed by presentations, one by PSE. Okay. Excellent. Then we'll have public comment and requests for items not on the agenda, followed by the consent agenda. Um,
Go ahead. Question of the
Yes.
PSC presentation, what's that on?
Mayor.
PSC is a big subject.
Yeah, Mayor?
It's just their annual update summary. There's no action requested, so that's something that you may recall that we put off, and they're happy to, I mean, that can easily be put off again if you're trying to manage your calendar. It's something we want to get to in the not too distant future, but it's not urgent. There's no action requested. It's just their update on goals and how they're doing against those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think, given the long agenda, it's something that we should consider moving?
I was thinking, yeah, I hate to kick them back twice in a row, but whew, that's a long list of things that are on this agenda. And as we keep pushing things out, they keep coming back, but maybe we try one more time pushing it out. Okay.
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay.
For other reasons, but yes, please.
Okay. Next thing is the consent agenda. We have approval of the city council meeting minutes on May 23rd, 2026, and the approval of the claims reported on April 13th, 2026. And I thought that we added something. I think it was a lodging tax
Sure.
allocation. Yes.
Yeah, I was just gonna comment, it's
Yep.
AB 25-121, the lodging tax, is
Excellent.
2026 allocations.
Mayor?
Sorry, help me out. That's not an ordinance?
That is not an
Okay,
That'd
so we
be-
had it listed under ordinances, but that was just, that should,
That was an error, yeah.
That's
There's
an error,
no
okay.
corresponding ordinance to that agenda.
all right, so that one can move up to consent, because you did decide to move that to consent agenda.
Right.
All right, so AB 25, yeah, you got it.
The next thing is ordinance amending chapter 10.24 compression brakes. This would be a first reading. This is one of the ones we kicked out from our last meeting. Then we have AB 26-007, which is an ordinance amending the definitions of sale and retail and sale at wholesale in the city's B&O tax code. That would be the first reading. This is one of the ones we talked about earlier tonight that I believe, had also kicked out last time. Then we have AB 26-014, an ordinance amending the Snoqualmie Municipal Code, Chapter 13.10, Stormwater Utility. And any thoughts on that? Mayor?
If I could ask Director Boutte, with regard to the agenda bill on definition of sale at retail and sale at wholesale, what is the deadline that we need to get that completed by? Do you know?
Well, ideally, it would have been finished by January 1 of this year.
Yes, that was before my time. What about, is there a deadline that we're now looking at?
No, there is no deadline, just as soon as we possibly can.
Yeah, you're not late till they tell you you're late. That's the issue,
Hey,
though.
what I'll suggest
They
is
tell you you're late.
certainly the AWC and their efforts did not give us or council sufficient time to be able to get this done within our prescribed procedures. So to a certain extent, I'm not
Knock it out.
exactly satisfied with AWC and their efforts overall and their understanding of the city's situation. Multiple.
My opinion being that this is something that is prescribed. I
agree.
would be fine with trying to knock this one out. Mayor?
Keep it on.
Okay.
I agree.
All right. Then we have AB 26-016, an ordinance repealing ordinance 1296, section 8, and resolution 1255, section 2B3. That's something that we talked about. Is that when we would have the presentation on kind of the whole package? Okay. I kind of assumed so. Yes, Mayor.
I did a zigzag on you, and
Yeah.
as a result, you never considered 26-014.
No, you mentioned.
You were asking 26-014, and I talked about 26-007, sorry.
Right. Okay.
I would say that one, if it's,
We need-
would seem time sensitive, so
Yeah.
I would encourage you to take that forward.
Okay. Then the last ordinance is AB.
Sorry. if
Yes,
I
Mayor.
could just say, so that remembering that for the council, there's actually two presentations going along with 26-016. The first is the legal presentation explaining why we need the 383,000, explaining why that's on. So that's a presentation they haven't seen.
We
that
did. They
You
did,
saw
yeah,
it,
right.
you sent it forward, but then we, ended up clearing the calendar. So both the presentation you saw this evening, as well as that presentation would both go before we then put those three items in front of you.
I am just curious if we should or can move the resolution amending the financial management policy after being part of that package, rather than having kind of part of the package and then waiting all the way down to FNA.
So instead of, so move it up from FNA.
Yeah.
Can it go under the resolutions?
Under
Or, excuse me,
ordinances?
can it go under the ordinances?
But this is a function of your rules.
Yeah, this is the way we structured this whole meeting.
This is, the way you've structured it.
So it can't
You
go
have-
underneath the ordinances.
You have at times in the past discussed in a situation like this, you have at times discussed the resolution at the time you're discussing the other items, and then just when you get to it, then you
Okay.
just vote on it.
And this is first reading of the ordinance, so we can advise, you're gonna get the details down below. This is
Mhm.
first reading. Wait for the second part of the story below, and then next time you get to actually vote on it. So
Okay,
we can deal with it.
I'm fine with
Whichever
that.
way It is, okay.
All right, then we have the committee reports, public safety, covered load enforcement discussion, flood event review update. Are we going to have an update, or is that something we could put in? If there's no update, is that something we could put in as informational? Councilmember Hallway.
Well, wait, get your answer first.
Mayor.
I do have something to bring up, but was there a question for me?
I was wondering for item number 16, the flood event review update. Is that something that that has an update, or is it something that could be informational as it was like tonight for FNA?
Yeah, it has nothing to report to you in terms of an update, other than that there is no update at this time. But as you know, I've committed to make sure you receive that each time. So that could be something that we put in the agenda packet, but you don't include on the agenda.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
We
Yes.
just talked about there's the arrow chart of future dates and events that we would discuss at council.
Sorry, I got confused. I think this was a different item. I'm sorry. Let me strike that thing I said. And there is a one-slide presentation that we wanted to tell you about. So this is, sorry, there's a slide that we've been bringing to this committee saying, here's what we've submitted, the amount that we charged against the emergency reserve, and here's the status of, the reimbursements we've requested. And so for a moment, I thought we were talking about that. That item certainly could be just included in the agenda packet, but no need to speak to it.
This is not that, though.
This is not that. This
never mind
is
then.
we reported out to public safety on the process we're going through to debrief what happened in the flood, how the city responded to it. You all know we had a town hall meeting. We asked the residents to tell us, where are areas we could improve. By the way, where are areas we did well? Let's make sure we keep doing that. And so all of this is being collated into a report out to you saying, okay, here's all the things that we've learned from that. This one slide is simply telling you, here's where we're at on that process, and here's when we're shooting for to get you a report out. So it's just sort of an update. It's a one slide that just sort of tells you where we're at on that process. So it's not a long presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Yes, Councilmember
And
Hall.
then on number, on number 15, I assume that was as acting chair last time, make comment about school zone enforcement and covered load enforcement. Was there additional information intended at number 15? other
Just
than
that
our-
information.
Okay, can we move that up under public safety and also include school zone enforcement in that item? The number 15 covered load enforcement discussion.
It's under public safety.
Oh, never mind. But can we add in their school zone enforcement too?
It's there, number 20.
Number 18.
20 is another school zone thing.
Oh,
Uh,
oh, I see.
Yeah.
Summary of current activity
Oh my
around
God.
enforcement
Okay.
around schools.
This is a very long
Yeah.
agenda. Okay, next thing is number 17. Yes, Mayor.
Sorry, if I could just double check, we just want to make sure we've got this right for
Yeah.
the record. Did you make a decision on AB 26-017. We heard you make this decision on 016. Just want to make sure we heard you say, yes, move 017
Yeah.
onto the
Yes,
council agenda.
yes.
Okay, good.
Okay, then number 17, discussion of the King County EMS BLS contract. Thoughts? Okay.
It's a good thing, but I don't know that necessarily time sensitive. Mary, would you be okay shifting that out to next council just to?
I would, just in the interest of staffing,
Mhm.
if we move that out, which I'd be fine with, perhaps we move out the flood event review update just because that's presented by the same person and
Yeah.
then we wouldn't need that person here.
All right, I'm okay with that.
Let them spend the night home, you bet.
All right, so
So
that was then
19
16 and 17 then. They're gonna be moved out, is that correct?
Sorry, yes, sorry. 17 and 16 we're moving out, correct?
Yep.
No, yes, 16 and 17. Did I get that right?
That's what we just talked about.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Next thing then is number 18. Summary of current activity around enforcement around school zones. And then number 19 is the summary of recent covered load enforcement. What's the difference between 15 and
It's gonna
19?
be about I'm gonna burn 5-minute talk unless the chief intends to talk, to just go through those.
Mayor?
Yeah, sorry, just back on 18, what Councilmember Holloway was saying, we've actually provided the data on that to the
Yeah.
chair. And so I think that is just intended to be a committee chair
Yeah,
comment.
chair comment. And I would assume also, covered load enforcement chair comment.
Summary?
If it's your choice, the
Well-
chair wasn't there, so you would probably have to do that
Yeah,
for
I
him.
would do it.
Okay.
I got no problem doing that. And probably the flashing light also is chair comment.
Okay.
Okay.
Light was damaged during the storm event. We've replaced it. It's back up there.
Is it okay with you if we just if we just reorder those so the chair comments are
Get 'em
just
all
boom, boom,
together.
boom? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Just make sure it's the school light, it's the school zones, and it's the covered load enforcement.
Okay. Any other thoughts for public safety? Excellent. Then that takes us to Community Development Committee. CD Department staffing. I didn't quite get to that.
So,
I
yeah, I
wonder-
think what we can do there, let's make that informational because there's nothing that,
Yeah, Mayor.
CD's department staffing did not get sent forward from community
Yeah.
development. So actually that,
so we can.
we did this, you know, we send this out to you before we've had the committee meetings, but they did not send that one forward.
And then, go ahead, Chair.
So striking number 21.
Correct.
And then on to 22, zoning and comprehensive plan contractor.
We will have an agenda bill coming subsequent council meeting on that. So I think we just move that out.
Okay,
That-
so we can strike that
correct.
one for now.
Yeah, so we have an agenda bill coming, so let's just move that out to the next council meeting.
All right, then we're lightening the load a little bit. Parks and Public Works Committee, grant application summary on Meadowbrook Bridge. Member Holloway looks concerned.
No, I think that's an
Mayor.
Not remember the conversation in Parks and Public Works on that subject matter.
That's because you weren't there, because it happened at the last public Parks and Public Works and it got
Part of
pushed
the
out. So that did get pushed out. That's an informational item. If you want to push that out, that will have no, that'll be fine.
I think-
Yeah.
All right. Then we'll do that. Next is 24. I should really read the numbers here. 24, pavement management plan update. Mayor?
There's no action required of that. That's informational, so definitely could be pushed out.
All right, then we'll do that. Next is item number 25, the snow website presentation.
Same. It's informational, no action.
Then we'll do that. Number 26, NPDES stormwater permit annual update.
I think the committee decided not to send that forward and to send it forward later when there would be a related action item agenda bill that would go with it.
Okay, then we're not ready for that one yet. All right, then number 27, the Urban Forest Improvements Program update. Thoughts,
It's a good story.
Mayor?
It's not, again, similar to the others, it's not tied to an action request. It's informational. So that could also move out.
Okay.
Yeah, it
So we'll
could
do
move
that.
out.
All right, then that lightens the load even more. Great. We still have a lot on the front end though, so it's still gonna be a good meeting. All right, next we have F and A. AB 26-015, the resolution amending the financial management policy, that's tied to the other things. Then we have item number 29, which is the Jupiter/Best discussion. So in terms of the order of events, I know that's something that's a high priority for the community for us to make sure that we get to. And I would hate for us to go through the agenda and then it's, late and somehow we're too tired to discuss it, or other things. So I wonder if there could be a time perhaps, after the ordinances, where we could slot that in so that we've talked about the, how we're going to fund the work that the administration intends to do, and then we could talk about it, or I'm open to other suggestions. Mayor?
If you'd like, I think your rules of procedure require you to put it here, but we could draft a motion that you could make during the time that you're approving the agenda to move it up. So if you'd like, we could provide that to you and you could just have the council vote to move it up at that time.
All right.
We put it under committee of the whole and put committee of the whole at the beginning of the committee reports?
Mayor?
The way your rules work is the agenda bills come first and then, so we'll give you the motion to move it up. And then,
Oh, I'm just suggesting move it to the top of the committee reports.
oh,
Put it under committee of the whole, put committee of the whole at the top of the committee reports. At least we're, 20% through the agenda before we get to it, but not right at the top.
Mayor?
Go ahead.
your choice. Obviously it's your council meeting, but you might think about your attendees or those who are watching and whether,
Go ahead.
you want to get to that earlier for them. It's entirely your decision. So we'll give you if this is okay, we'll give you the motion and we'll sort of, give you a fill in the blank as to where you want to move it on the agenda.
All right, I'm
Okay.
open to that.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll leave it as is for now.
Mr. Thrall,
Yeah.
if you'll take the to-do to write that motion for us.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, and then we
And-
have,
Sorry, if
Yes,
I
Mayor.
could, if it would be acceptable, I'd like to have that item read discussion of potential land use in unincorporated UGA. Would that be acceptable?
I'm sorry, I've lost you.
The name of the item number 29 would be discussion of
Oh,
potential land
renaming
use
it,
in
okay.
unincorporated UGA.
I
mean,
appreciate the intent. I'm
yeah.
just wondering if the community would understand, and it would,
Yeah.
it could look like,
Do parentheses Jupiter after that if you wanted to.
Or hyphen even.
no. I wish we had legal counsel to ask. All right,
So,
Councilman Washington.
yeah, kind of what, if you would, Mr. Mayor, like, what is your thought process on it for
I have
renaming?
no further comment at this point.
Okay.
If I could, I
Mayor?
don't think anyone will have any problem understanding what that item is. This is not designed to confuse anyone.
No, I very much appreciate the intent. I think the mayor's probably right. If people will be able to figure out that we mean UGA and that's the only thing that could be there.
I don't want them to have to figure it out. I want best in there in the title so they know we're discussing it. You just heard tonight, you guys, what are you doing? And so I'm gonna rename it so it's slightly something different. You gotta figure out what it is. No, best has gotta be in the title.
All right, Mayor?
How about discussion of potential best land use in unincorporated UGA?
That sounds much better.
That was BESS?
It is. It is. It is not.
BFG?
I've not yet, never mind. I have no.
Oh,
further comment.
Jason.
Um,
Um, And.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, Councilmember Washington.
Yeah, so keeping the title of Jupiter/Bess, followed by the rest.
I think Bess is
He's
okay.
doing best, and I'm okay with, people know best.
Well, let's let him answer
Okay.
it.
All right, Mayor?
Yes, I'm recommending discussion of potential best land use in unincorporated UGA.
So effectively dropping Jupiter.
Yep.
That may be appropriate.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
And are we still thinking about moving it up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but even before the ordinances,
It
are we
may
gonna
be-
let council make that decision
Yeah.
the
I
night
think-
of?
I think that's gonna be a council decision of where to put it
Yeah.
in the order.
Well, if you're making the motion, you'll have to make a motion to
Yeah.
put it
Right.
somewhere.
That's right.
A night
I,
after that.
I
but-
have my intent, but the
Yeah.
council may decide to do something different and amend my motion. So.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. So I'm good with that version of it. Play back the recording. It's the last thing the mayor said. Okay, then the next thing is the item number 30, the flood event update. If there is no event, I wonder if we could just make it informational and.
That's the one I
have-
was suggesting
Yeah.
that we don't actually discuss, but we'll include it in the agenda packet.
Yep. Yeah, I do not have anything for committee of the whole at this time. I intend to in the near future, but we're doing a little bit of catch up on some things that we need to do.
Okay.
And we've got more catch up to do in future meetings.
I agree.
Followed by reports, the mayor's report, and then commission and committee liaison reports, and then finally department reports. Mayor.
I mean, it's up to you on the length of your meeting, but, the department reports could be just attachments that, we put in the agenda packet, and then your decision whether you, the mayor's report is something you could ask me, just send you an email.
I would say definitely for the
It's for
department.
Washington.
Sorry. Sorry. It's late.
It's all right. I know.
Been a long day. So sorry. No disrespect. The department reports for March of 2026. Yeah, I don't see why they can't be informational.
All right, I'm good with that. Okay, then.
All right, and
Mayor-
did you want to leave the commission committee liaison reports?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, then that was the whole agenda. That would then lead us to adjournment. Any other thoughts on the agenda?
Good job.
Along with the many amendments we just made to the proposed agenda. Okay, then there being no further, unless the mayor needs something. Anything?
I think we're set.
Okay, then there being no further business before the committee, we are adjourned at 7:45. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.